What if dinosaurs never went extinct? The air hangs heavy and still, thick with the scent of damp earth and blooming cycads. In the perpetual twilight beneath the canopy of giant ginkgo trees, a profound silence reigns, broken only by the rhythmic drip of water from leaf to forest floor, then a tremor. It is not a sound, but a feeling, a deep, resonant thrum that vibrates up through the roots of the ancient world. Another follows, closer this time, and a herd of diminutive, fur-covered creatures freezes mid-step. They are no larger than squirrels, their wide, dark eyes reflecting a primal, inherited terror. For them, the beat is a death knell. Suddenly, the undergrowth explodes. A whirlwind of iridescent feathers and obsidian claws bursts from the foliage. It moves with a terrifying bird-like grace, its head held low, driven by a predatory focus honed over 100 million years. The tiny mammals scatter, their squeaks of panic swallowed by the gloom. The hunter ignores them. Its target is larger. Its sickle-shaped talons, each 30 centimeters of serrated keratin, are raised not for a fleeing morsel but for a war that is about to begin. This is not the past. This is today, and the Earth does not belong to us. 66 million years ago, a piece of the cosmos, a celestial wanderer 10 kilometers wide, made a fateful appointment with a shallow sea in what is now the Yucatan Peninsula. Its arrival was catastrophic. The impact unleashed energy equivalent to billions of atomic bombs, vaporizing rock and water in a fireball that scorched the sky. It triggered a global winter as trillions of tons of dust and soot choked the atmosphere, blocking the sun for years. Photosynthesis halted. Ecosystems collapsed. In the cold and the dark, the great reign of the non-avian dinosaurs came to a calamitous end. 75% of all life on Earth perished. It was a planetary reset button, a geological punctuation mark that concluded one era and began another. The age of mammals. Our age. But in the vast tapestry of cosmic probability, a slight deviation, a gravitational nudge from Jupiter millions of years prior, a fraction of a degree in trajectory could have altered that outcome. Let us imagine that reality. The asteroid does not strike. It is a near miss, a brilliant, terrifying spectacle in the prehistoric sky that quickly fades. On the surface of the Earth, nothing changes. The volcanic activity of the Deccan Traps continues to subtly alter the climate, but there is no sudden apocalypse. There is no shroud of darkness, no flash-fried continents, no mass extinction. The Cretaceous period does not end with a bang. It simply continues. For the dinosaurs, it is the greatest reprieve in the history of life. For the tiny nocturnal mammals cowering in their burrows, it is the continuation of a seemingly endless sentence. In the immediate aftermath of this non-event, the first 10 million years, the period we call the Paleocene, would see a world of profound inertia. Without the cataclysm to clear the slate, the established dynasties would not just persist, they would flourish. The tyrannosaurs, far from being evolutionary dead ends, would continue their specialization in North America. The last of the giant carnivores might face increasing competition from more agile, intelligent predators. The large hadrosaurs and ceratopsians would continue to dominate the floodplains, their vast herds shaping the landscape as elephants do today. But the world was changing nonetheless. The continents, indifferent to the life they carried, continued their slow drift. The climate, which was already trending towards a cooler, drier state, would present new challenges. The warm, humid hothouse of the Cretaceous would gradually give way to a more seasonal planet. Dinosaurs, once thought to be cold-blooded and sluggish, were in fact highly active, warm-blooded animals. But this global cooling would have tested their limits. Those adapted for immense size and constant heat, like some of the larger sauropods, may have slowly dwindled. For others, it was an opportunity. Insulating protofeathers, already present in many theropod lineages, would become a vital advantage. Dromaeosaurs, the raptors with their full coats of complex feathers, would be perfectly pre-adapted for these new, colder niches spreading into higher latitudes. In the southern hemisphere, the colossal abylosaurs would continue their reign. For the mammals, it was more of the same. The glass ceiling remained firmly in place. They would continue to live in the shadows, small, resourceful, and hunted, their potential held in a state of suspended animation by a world that had no room for them. The night was theirs, but the day and the world still belonged to the dinosaurs. Over the next 50 million years' evolution, that relentless artist would sculpt the dinosaurs into forms both familiar and alien. The spreading of grasslands in the Miocene, a critical event that spurred the evolution of grazing mammals in our timeline, would present a new frontier. In this world, the ceratopsians would radiate into a dozen new forms. Imagine herds of triceratops gazelle, slender, fleet-footed creatures with smaller frills and sharper horns, perfectly adapted for life on the open plains, moving with a surprising agility. In the forests, the hadrosaurs might evolve in a different direction, their intricate nasal passages becoming ever more elaborate, producing a symphony of low-frequency calls that could communicate complex social information across miles of dense woodland. Perhaps some would evolve giraffe-like necks to browse on the highest branches, becoming giants that would dwarf any land mammal. The true evolutionary explosion, however, would likely occur among the most intelligent dinosaurs, the troodontids. Already possessing the largest brain-to-body size ratio of any known dinosaur, 66 million more years of selective pressure would forge a mind of formidable power. Let us call this new lineage the Sapioraptors. Evolving in the socially complex world of pack hunting, they would develop advanced communication and cooperative strategies. Their hands, already capable of grasping, would become more dexterous, allowing for the manipulation of objects. While they would not be building cities, the first flickerings of higher intelligence would be undeniable. The deliberate use of rocks to crack open armored prey, the construction of sophisticated nests, perhaps even a primitive symbolic language of clicks and whistles, these creatures, standing 2 meters tall, with forward-facing eyes that hold an unnerving glint of cunning, would become the planet's dominant strategic predators. The chilling efficiency of a wolf pack combined with a near-human capacity for problem-solving. This would be the new pinnacle of terrestrial life. This world, a vibrant and terrifying neo-Mesozoic, would be an impassable fortress for our own ancestors. The story of humanity is one of opportunity, of ecological niches opening at just the right moment. Our primate lineage was forged when our distant ancestors descended from the trees to exploit the new resources of the savanna. But in a world ruled by dinosaurs, that journey would be a fatal one. The ground is the domain of fleet-footed hunters, the skies are patrolled by giant asdarchid pterosaurs, and the trees themselves are not safe, stalked by arboreal dromaeosaurs. There would be no Australopithecus taking its first bipedal steps. There would be no Homo habilis chipping at the first stone tool. The evolutionary pathway to humanity is severed before it can even begin. Our would-be ancestors, the primates, would almost certainly survive, but they would be trapped. Confined to the highest canopies, they would evolve into small, hyper-specialized creatures of the arboreal world. Picture a being resembling a modern tarsier or bush baby, diminutive, with enormous eyes for nocturnal vision, long fingers for gripping branches, and a state of constant heightened anxiety. Its entire existence would be defined by avoidance. The rustle of feathers in the leaves above is not a bird, but a climbing raptor. The distant booming call is not thunder, but the approach of a browsing titanosaur that could topple its home with a careless step. This creature would possess a nervous intelligence, a mind honed for escape and survival, but it would never have the security or the ecological opportunity to develop culture, technology, or consciousness. It would remain an animal, a perpetual footnote in a world that never had a place for it. The horrifying truth is not that humanity would be different, it is that the very concept of humanity would be an impossibility, an evolutionary phantom. The most profound consequence of this unbroken dinosaurian reign is not simply the absence of humanity, but the potential presence of an entirely different form of intelligence. We return to the Sapioraptors. As millennia stack into eons, their nascent abilities would slowly coalesce. Social learning would allow for the transmission of knowledge from one generation to the next. The manipulation of tools would cease to be opportunistic and become cultural. Imagine a small clan nestled in a cave system, tending to a captured ember from a lightning-struck tree. Not fire for warmth or cooking initially, but perhaps as a weapon, a way to drive larger predators from a kill or to shape their environment. This is not the story of a bipedal ape. This is the story of a bipedal reptile, a creature born of a different evolutionary heritage. Its mind a mosaic of avian instinct and an emerging alien logic. What kind of civilization would they build? Their societies might be based on hive-like cooperation, their art expressed through complex acoustic resonance rather than visual symbols. Their philosophy would not be centered on a separation from nature, but an absolute mastery of it as the ultimate predator. The very fabric of their thought would be different, forged in a world of predator-prey dynamics we can barely comprehend. The truly horrifying truth, then, is that the Earth would not be an empty, unintelligent paradise. It would have a master, and standing on a cool plains night, one such being feathers ruffled by the wind, large unblinking eyes turned upward, might watch the silent, streaking light of a passing meteor. It would feel no sense of cosmic dread or existential curiosity. It would feel only the supreme confidence of an apex, a creature whose world was never broken, a world that was, and always would be, its own.